So now you know inputs, you know how to take inputs, you know how to display, right? You know how to output data. You also know about variables, expressions, expressions. So now what we can do is write real programs. Okay, so these are parts of real programs. Okay, so input, some processing here, and output. So what we will do now is use these three things that we have learned to go from algorithms to programs. Okay, and what I want to do is I want you to remember the algorithm that we had, the algorithm that finds the average of three numbers. Okay, remember what the algorithm was. The first part was input, right? So in input, what we did was we said we input first number, right? And input second number, right? And input third number, right? So input three numbers, and then we had the processing stage, where the where we added things, right? Now in the algorithm we added, at least I added the numbers one by one, but you don't have to do that. All you can do is add three numbers, and divide sum by 3, divide sum by 3. Finally you have the output stage where we just output the result, right? Where we say number 6, sorry, we'll say print the result of the division. So essentially that's our algorithm to find the average of three numbers. Now if I had to change this algorithm into a Python program, what would I do? Okay, so we can just do this line by line, right? So the first line is we want to input the first number. And how do we input a number? We can just say, uh, let's say first number is, I want to store the first number in a variable. So obviously I can say a, that's my first variable. Okay, a equals input, and then within parentheses I like to have a prompt, so I would say enter, I would say, let's say first number, enter first number, and then a colon and then a space. Okay, enter first number. uh, b equals input, enter second number. C equals input, enter third number, right? So these are the numbers that were inputted by the user. Now though, these are all strings, so we have to convert them into integers, right? So I would say a equals int of a, b equals int of b, c equals int of c. Change all these to integers, right? And then we say, uh, I want to create a new variable, but you don't have to, or you can just directly print it. So I can also say the print the average of a, comma b, comma c, comma is, and then a plus b plus c by 3, right? Sorry, this is not programming. We went beyond this. So a plus b plus c by divided by 3, right? So let me actually write this code in Replit, okay? And I'll show you some variations of what we can do. So the first thing is we have three numbers, right? So a a equals uh a equals input enter the first number, okay? Number, enter the first number. B equals input, enter the second number, and C equals input, enter the third number. Okay, now you have to change all these to integers, right? So you can say a equals int a, b equals int of b, c equals int of c. So all these have been changed. Now you see that I add spaces in between these blocks of code, which have no real bearing on the output, but I like it because it sort of, in my mind, it improves the readability of the code. When I go back and look at this code, I know what's happening. Okay, so it's easier for me to read the code if I have spaces. So I have a equals int of a, b equals int of b, c equals int of c, which means a, b, and c are now converted to integers. Now I can have a separate variable such as d equals a plus b plus c, a plus a plus b plus c. Okay, and then I can have another variable. Uh, you know what? Let's not call this d. Let's call it uh, let's call it. I don't know why I have spaces in between, but that is not a good thing. Okay, spaces is not a good thing. Don't have spaces. Um, so what I want is sum equals, no, sum is a bad variable name because sum, I think it's a keyword. Okay, so I'd say total. Let's say total equals a plus b plus c, and then say average or avg. I think avg equals total divided by 3. Okay, and then print uh, the average of the three numbers. So a, b, c is average. Okay, now we can actually improve the readability of this statement right here, but let's we can do that later. Okay, let's run this first. So it says enter the first number. Let's do 10, second number 20, third number 30. It says the average of 10, 20, 30 is 20.0. Okay, if you want to add commas and stuff between commas and an and, you can also do that. So a, the average of a, right, average of a, and then a comma b, and then another comma, and then an and. So you can also do this. Okay, you can also do the average of a comma b comma and c is average. So obviously this looks better, but the statement becomes a bit more complicated. Okay, so when I run it, average, enter first number 10, 20, 30. Now it says the average of 10, 20, and 30 is 20.0. By the way, as you can see, because of the way print statement works, they have added commas after the 10s and the 20s, which I don't really like, but that's why. But anyways, completely up to you. Okay, so that's one way of doing this. The other way is, let me go back to the previous statement right here. The other way is, instead of having all these separate variables such as total and average, all I can do is get rid of this. I can say, because print not only takes variables and literals, it also takes expressions. So I could directly say print within parentheses a plus b plus c divided by 3. Same result. Okay, same result. So number 10, 20, 30, same result. Okay, by the way, you need this parentheses. Why? Because why do we need this parentheses? Because of the precedence of operators, right? Because otherwise it will do a plus b plus c over 3. So it would be 10 plus 20 plus 30 over 3, which is 10. Okay, so when I run this, 10, 20, 30, now it's 40 for some reason. Okay, because not for some reason, because a is 10 and b is 20 and c by 3 is 30, 30 over c over 3 is 30 over 30 over 3, which is 10, and the sum of all these 10, 20, 10 is 40. So obviously the parentheses is important. The parentheses around a plus b plus c is important. So that's one way of writing the program. Okay, so that's how we go from algorithms to programs.